Yeah, doing well. Thankfully, staying busy. So
Mhm,
good
mhm.
problems to have.
Yeah, first of all, thank you very much for, for giving us your valuable time. We really appreciate it. Really appreciate it.
Yep,
Yeah.
always happy to help.
And what you do with Azoka is awesome.
Oh, thank you.
So, uh, we have a small tradition for us to break the ice. We will tell you one liner from the audience. What are we doing, and who are we, so that you could have a little more information about us. Okay.
Awesome. Awesome.
So I'll go first. My name is Daniel. I'm the founder of SaaS Locker. We are creating big websites for SaaS businesses. Next one. One line.
Hi, I'm Daria, and I'm building an AI tutor for English learning.
Nice.
Hi, my name is Ilya. I'm computer vision engineer and work with LLMs.
Nice.
Hi, I'm Daria, and we are helping small businesses in the US win more government contracting.
Awesome.
Hi, I'm Ruslan. I'm creating an application for managing mastermind groups. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Lata, and I'm not a founder yet, but I'm working on career guidance project for high school students.
Great.
Hi, I'm Roman, and I'm organizing a podcast trying to connect different communities in Ukraine regarding art, architecture, music, marketing, and so on.
Awesome.
Hello, my name is Mikita, and I'm building AI tutor for learning English.
Hi, my name is Kostya. I'm doing business development, helping companies making some strategies, outreaches, and so on. So basically, particularly I'm interested in your tool because you mentioned that it helps company to reach more prospects.
Awesome.
Hi, my name is Dmitro. I'm working at Accelerator and working with startups and consulting startups to do best B2B multiple outreach campaign. So I'm also interested to your tools. So I'm very interested to hear you and give us many information about your tool.
Great.
Hi, my name is Aliana, and I'm an engagement manager at Lift 99.
Hi, I'm Dmitro. I built a grocery e-commerce AI widget, which automatically fills in the cart for users. And you won't see me a lot because I will be in the corner managing the stream and all the other stuff. But I'll be here maybe sometimes asking questions.
Awesome.
Yeah, so that's us. We are Lift 99 Kyiv Startup Hub. So first of all, in Ukraine, a lot of sales also goes through messengers. So we are, as Dmitro said, are really interested in your tool, in hearing about it. Yes, and now I will ask you in 5 to 7 minutes, as you wish, to tell us about Zoko, its vision, and what problems are you solving? Thank you.
Sure. So thanks everyone for intro and thanks for taking the time. And I'm the founder of Zoco. My name is Arjun. And what we do as a company is we make it easy for e-commerce merchants to sell through WhatsApp. Right. WhatsApp, if WhatsApp is on 80% or more phones in a country, these e-commerce merchants are forced to have WhatsApp as a channel. And we make it easy for them to open up WhatsApp as a proper channel for business. Like we got into Y Combinator in winter 21, and we had like $10,000 a month in revenue at that time, and we just crossed 3 million ARR. This be a market for us. So that's a short intro about me. And maybe I can quickly show you a glimpse of the product also, so you get a sense of how that happens.
Yeah. Let's go.
Okay. So we build a dashboard like this, which kind of looks like WhatsApp web, where you can chat with customers. You have a list of customers on the left, and then you have information about the customers on the right. Right? You look at WhatsApp web, it's pretty much the same, right? You can see it's pretty much the same kind of structure that we have. But what makes us different is if you are on Shopify, when I say e-commerce merchants, we focus on Shopify merchants specifically, and we can connect to their Shopify website and pull their entire catalog here, right? So as you're talking to customers, you can drag and drop products to chat. Either it could be a collection of items or a single item, and you can take an order, including payment, right inside WhatsApp, right? So WhatsApp kind of becomes a tool for sales instead of just chatting or instead of just customer support. You can use WhatsApp as a tool for commerce. So if you are on WhatsApp here, see the two products that I sent. You can see that collection. You can open that, add to cart, create a cart here, and try to buy the product, right? And then it'll come to my dashboard here, where I can see what the customer sent, and then we have built like an AI that can talk to you and collect your address, and collect your payment, and close the sale, right? Or you can do it manually also. So essentially, this is the product that we have built. We can do mass marketing on WhatsApp. When customers reply, you can talk to them, show them your products, collect payments, and you can repeat the cycle. And WhatsApp becomes like a revenue channel for you instead of just a support channel. So, any questions so far?
Cool. Yes. I will be the first, and then we'll pass the mic to the audience. So the first question from me is how has the role of messengers in commerce changed in recent years, and how do you see the future?
Yeah, sure. So see, there are lots of markets like India, Brazil, and if you look at what we did when we started, we scraped 1.5 million Shopify stores and saw that close to 300,000 of them had the WhatsApp widget installed on their website, right? They could have installed Intercom, they could have installed world-class products like Zendesk, Freshdesk, but they chose to install WhatsApp widget, which only just directs the chat to WhatsApp and does nothing else, right? This is like 4 years ago, 2020, right? And so that is close to 20% of all stores that we scraped has WhatsApp on it, right? So that kind of told us that even though there are other products there, support is not the main thing. Merchants were trying to talk to customers on WhatsApp and close sales, right? And then, as in our experience also, we can analyze these chats and find out what is happening. And we saw that 70% of messengers, people messaging these WhatsApp numbers are actually trying to buy a product, not talking about support, like trying to deal with something that happened before. Or kind of makes sense. That's why they were in your website in the first place, was to buy. They saw a WhatsApp widget and they started talking to you. So that intention is still buy, right? So that shift we think will deepen, and every business, like what we say is, WhatsApp numbers are going to be the URLs of the future, where every business, like they have a URL, they'll have a WhatsApp number, and people will be able to talk to them on that channel and accomplish things.
Understood. Thank you. Who's next?
Can you tell us a little bit more about your ICP and how did it evolve over time?
Yeah. So when we started, we were selling to everybody and their mother who would buy from us, right? In fact, our first customer was a e-commerce brand that was selling footwear. A second customer was a like a $3 billion bank. And the third customer was a homestay, like an Airbnb kind of a business that was there. So this pattern kind of went on till we had about 200 customers. We were making $10,000 a month. We got into YC. And then the problem with this is when I talk to a bank, let's say I have a 30-minute conversation with the bank about what Zoco should build or what features Zoco should have, what we don't have. Let's say we had a 30-minute conversation, I wrote everything down. Then I went to the Airbnb like business, had a conversation, I wrote everything down. Went to the e-commerce business, wrote everything down. These conversations were completely different. I'd be confused about what to build, who to serve, should I serve, go after the bank. For example, the bank would all be about security, legal, compliance and all that stuff, right? The shoe guy would be about like trying to take orders and things like that. So then YC advised us, you have a cluster of customers who have the same needs, right? And then even though we're not focusing, we saw that we had about 30 Shopify merchants who pretty much were very uniform, had the same needs and all that. So we made the difficult decision to focus on that group of customers, right? So we'll be kind of become a big fish in a small pond first, right? Instead of trying to serve everybody. And with YC's advice is when we realized that Shopify stores we should go after them, right? So that is how we focused on Shopify, build an app for them. And today, even though there are lots of WhatsApp solutions, if a Shopify store comes to us, we are like way ahead of what they would have seen in demos with the other solutions, right? So that is how we kind of shifted from everybody and their mother to e-commerce, and not only e-commerce, specifically Shopify.
Yeah, thank you so much. I got it. And the last question is regarding the competitive landscape. As you mentioned, there could be like direct competitors, and apart from that, like some chatbots, whenever like you can sell through so many channels. Can you tell us a little?
Yeah, there is lots of competition. In fact, we have a WhatsApp group of solution builders, and there would be like 58 members there who are building 58 different countries who pretty much look like Zoco. If you look at their website, they all talk about marketing on WhatsApp or selling on WhatsApp and all that stuff, right? And the big ones are, you may have heard of it, Wati.io, Sequoia funded, WATI, funded by Sequoia. Then there is Respond.io. And then there is Interact in India, which is backed by Reliance, and Facebook has invested in Reliance and all that stuff. So there are big companies, but those are all more generic solutions towards WhatsApp, right? So we focus on Shopify merchants, and in the Shopify ecosystem, there's one more player called ByteSpeed, which is pretty similar to us, and they are focusing on Shopify. So it is us and them competing for customers in that space. So because you have an ICP and our marketing is very specific to them, competition really doesn't matter, right? The idea is to kind of grow to $10 million revenue or something, and then at that stage you have to worry about competition and what to do in the competitive landscape and all. But pre 5 million, the market is so large that competition won't be the thing that kills you or overly affects what you build. You just keep your head down and focus on your customers and build for them. Right? That's what we are following.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Do you think this changes from market to market? So this is a very interesting thought. As you mentioned before, 10 million ARR. The market isn't the one. The competition isn't the one who can kill you. Do you think this differs from market to market, or is it universal?
Yeah, it's pretty much universal, right? Markets don't matter. See, I'll differentiate between VC-funded businesses and bootstrap businesses, which may go after a very small market, right? So if it's VC-funded, by definition, you already went and told the VC that the market is so big that I can build $1 billion company in this space, right? So by that very definition, all these VC-funded companies pretty much exist in large markets. for the math to work, it has to be there. So when you are operating in a large market, competition prior to 10 million, brand prior to 10 million, none of that stuff matters, right? Because you're pre-product market fit anyways. And so in the early stages, you always the idea is you try to build the worst company in the world, don't even make money. In fact, it's okay to pay customers money to use your product. But one thing you have to have is 100 customers who love you, right? Once you have that, then you have an excuse to get 1,000 customers. You have like startup problems at that point, right? How do you monetize? How do you find more customers? How do you go to market? How do you retain them? So once you figure all that out, and today, earlier I would say at 1 million you would have had these things, but today, these days, it's about 3 to 5 million. You will have a repeatable motion of getting customers, right? Till then, you're not worrying about competition. Like nothing they can do to help or hurt you at this point, because you have such a small focus problem that you're working on, right? Then when you grow, when you double in size and go above and all that stuff, that is when competition starts to matter, because at that point you may have to go and capture your competitors' customers or prevent customers from going to your competitors. Your growth will be affected at that stage, right? So I would say short answer is it's a universal what do you call principle, and early stages you shouldn't worry about competition. In fact, even late stages, the people would there are people who say like competition has never killed a company, or I think Paul Graham is the one who said this, that most companies die by suicide than murder. So it's very rare that competition murders you. You probably have internal fights and die by suicide.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, hi. I also checked your page on the web, and I had maybe obvious idea that we can name Zoco as a WeChat in China for Europe and States, because you integrate the Shopify, you integrate the messaging, and it seems that it's to be all-in-one solution. Also, maybe just my theory that, for example, in States it works like LinkedIn. In Europe, it's maybe also LinkedIn and Mail, but in the terms of countries in the Asia, the WhatsApp seems to be the only channel of acquisition and any market things which you can do there. Is right?
Yeah, that's right. So WeChat in China is what WhatsApp is aspiring to become, right? See, WhatsApp paid $18 billion for the thing, and they want to make money off of it now, right? They've started to monetize. And in fact, they've already made $1 billion on WhatsApp by just charging for the API, right? So unlike WeChat, which kind of built the entire solution themselves, tightly controls it, and takes it between them and the customer, there's nobody else. What what Meta is doing is they're trying to repeat their Facebook Messenger strategy, right? So if you look at, there are big brands like ManyChat that are built on the WhatsApp Messenger or Instagram Messenger, where they open up the APIs and have people like Zoco and Wati and Respond and ManyChat build solutions, maybe even vertical solutions going after the market. So that is their strategy. We open up the APIs, the people like Zoco and Wati and all build solutions for the market. And these solutions will ultimately be, if you combine all these solutions together, it's like WeChat, right? You just message a number and then you start to figure out, what do you want? Do I want to book a hotel? I would go with some company. Do I want to just talk to a moving company? But Wati is in the middle. Do I talk to a Shopify merchant? Zoco is in the middle. But this layer is invisible. But every day when we wake up, we are trying to further WhatsApp's reach into the world and WhatsApp's utility into the world, right? So WhatsApp is trying to become like WeChat, but they're going through an army of builders like us through the open API strategy.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, when a lot of companies came to WhatsApp, they just built the whole ecosystem, and especially for products like yours, you using Zoco, you could just, as you said, print number and receive all services you want. Yeah, that's a great idea.
Exactly. And the beauty is, these merchants, they don't have to convince anybody to install an app or anything. WhatsApp is already there, right? So that's the beauty of that. If you guys have built apps and marketed apps, you know it's painful to get people to download an app and keep the app on the phone, right? So none of these merchants have that problem. Zogo doesn't have that problem. WhatsApp is already there, and we know it's one of the stickiest products in the world, right? To give you a number, to give you a sense of how sticky WhatsApp is, like any world-class app that you've heard of, TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, the 12-month retention of these apps are close to 50%. That means if 100 people downloaded Snapchat today, 12 months later, 50 of them will still have it on their phone. They're still active users, right? That's world-class apps. Then there is a huge gap. Below 20 is everybody else. Mostly it is 50% is below 10, right? So it is 50% below 10, the rest slightly approaching 20, and then there are about a handful of world-class apps approaching 50%. This is the lay of the land when it comes to retention of apps. But there's one app which has 95% retention, which is WhatsApp, right? 95%. Means anybody who's ever downloaded WhatsApp has not uninstalled it, right? So this is one of the also the reasons why we bet on WhatsApp. It's not like other apps where when you're building a startup, we have to worry about dependency and all that stuff, right? So WhatsApp has almost become like a public service now that WhatsApp themselves cannot build all these solutions, right? And they need people like this middle layer between us. Like for example, our product, we really cannot sell in Brazil or Mexico. Why? Because those markets, even though the product is great, support languages, everything has to be in Spanish or Portuguese for it to work in that market, right? And time zones. We don't work 24 hours, like 24 hours a day. So from a startup perspective, there are customers who message us, use Google Translate to talk to us, try to install the product. They literally cannot use it. So it's the same product, same behavior of the market. The fact that we cannot scale to that market itself opens up that space for another competitor to serve that market, right? So it's so huge that WhatsApp is so entrenched and so huge that this ecosystem has to exist, right? So this is one of the reasons why we are building on WhatsApp.
Yes, yes, that's great because I recently, maybe a year ago, worked in a company which tried to do kind of that program. We made it in Telegram in Messenger, and the idea was to just make some CRM system like that where you could process some service businesses like haircuts, tire services, and so on. And our main idea also was that since you have the Messenger built in your device, you don't have to download anything. And that's why retention is so great, and you don't have to think about any performance marketing and so other strategies.
Exactly. And the user doesn't have to learn anything new, right? They already know how to use WhatsApp, and so there's no real learning curve. You can immediately start using the app, right? So there is very little gap there, very little friction. So any app, so there are markets where Messenger or Facebook Messenger, Telegram or Facebook Messenger or Kakao Talk, for example, in Korea, Line in Japan. If you're on 80% or more phones, if you're a business, you should adopt that Messenger, not WhatsApp, right? But WhatsApp fits this definition in a lot of countries. So one of the reasons why we picked it.
Yes, thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, one question. I saw that you're like an official partner with Meta, and do you know like what's the strategy for developing WhatsApp? Because again, like you said that they're looking for external solutions to like, build a better product. But on the Instagram, for example, they have already like they're already trying to build like an e-commerce ecosystem there. Maybe they have in plans to incorporate some of the solutions, or maybe build something, or maybe they have completely different plans of developing in some other way for WhatsApp. Yeah.
Yeah. So what we know so far is they are unifying all three channels, right? That's why they have the cloud API now. Cloud API, which is a unified API for WhatsApp, Instagram, and Facebook Messenger and all that stuff. So they've uh, they've already started this unification thing like 3 years ago. They're still working on it. So for the foreseeable future, it'll be like a clusterfuck. It won't be super smooth. But the idea is they're going towards unification, right? Um, and one of the reasons why they're finding it hard is one, there was internal conflict between inside Facebook. Like WhatsApp guys were not super enthused about giving up their encryption and all that stuff. So they had to first. That's one of the reasons why they got rid of all the Instagram guys and WhatsApp guys, so that there'll be one person trying to make decisions, right? So they unified that decision-making structure first, the products second. That's what they're working on now. So they found some balance between encryption and messaging and all that stuff. So they finally got out of that process where they're continuing there, right? And then what we know so far is they are repeating the Facebook Messenger strategy, opening up the API so folks like us can build. But on the side, they will also try to bring in solutions. What do you call, like the catalog APIs? I think 2 days ago they released like an AI chat inside WhatsApp, which can actually sell and all that. So they'll also try to do their things, but what we have noticed that they'll probably not succeed because the use cases are so different, the languages, countries, markets are so different. It's almost impossible for one company to build a world-class solution in that space. That is why we think like the vertical builders like Zoco and all will ultimately succeed or need to exist.
Thank you. Yeah, I didn't know that they have like exact same API between the three messengers. Yeah, that's an interesting one.
Yeah. And it's still not there yet, but they've started. That's why they called it Meta API, Cloud API, and all, and they're starting on it.
Yes, I have a question about your current version of the product. It's not the one you intended. So I would like to ask about all your pivots. What happened? How did you analyze your customers? What were some unpredictable, unexpected features to make a turn? Why did you do that? And what would be your advice for all of us to spot those changing points in our product journey?
Yeah, definitely. So one thing is, what do you call? I got lucky that I kind of built the same product that I intended to 4 years ago. Not 4 years, so more older than that. Actually, let me show you some. But there are several things that we changed. I'll talk about that. But let me show you. So this is how I sold to the first customers before building the product, right? So I'll just let it load. So essentially what I did is I faked the product, made videos of it, and then showed this. Essentially, this is a PowerPoint animation. I made PowerPoint animations, took it to demos and showed customers and pretended like it's a real product and see if they would sign up, right? So once I got enough people to sign up, I knew that they wanted. And that's when I actually went and talked to my co-founder and we started building the product. So see this product, one thing I'll show you here. This was in 8 years ago, right? So this was even before the WhatsApp API was public. We made an unofficial API when we made our first version of the product. But even before the WhatsApp API was public, because I saw that a lot of people were using WhatsApp for selling, Facebook pages for selling and all that stuff. So I felt that this product should exist. And see this video where I showed, see, this is exactly what I just showed you, right? I dragged and dropped the product into chat and I talked to the customer. So if you look at our product today, I'll now switch to the real product. See, this is exactly the same thing, right? Where you have chat and you have products here and you can drag and drop products into chat and take an order, right? So that's exactly what I'm doing now. So my overall product didn't change much. It's just that, for example, it took another 3 years for a WhatsApp API to be released. So I just stayed on this one problem all this time, right? It's rare that you kind of throw a dart and it hits in the beginning. So that's one thing that is unique about how I built the product. It just happened to be same, right? But one thing that changed, for like the biggest change that happened was I didn't know. I thought it was a product for everybody, and then after a year and a half of properly building is when I realized that don't build for everybody. Focus on e-commerce, and further focus on Shopify only, right? So that was a big learning. That also, like, even when we try to sell the same product in Brazil or Mexico or South America, we notice that we are lacking a lot of skills to take this product to market there, right? So if you're worrying about competition or all that stuff, the market is so large that if you just focus on India or English speaking countries in this time zone, only on Shopify, and start building for that, you can easily hit $1 million, 3 million, 5 million in revenue, right? So I feel like a lot of startups unnecessarily worry about a lot of these competition, and they don't have the guts to focus on one specific and just take time and build a great product for that market, right? It's very scary not to do it. Like, even we felt scared, but it's because YC gave us the confidence and we had money in the bank, and we didn't have, they said, don't spend your money unless you know what to do. So just keep the money in the bank so you have time to experiment and take time to build the product. So that's what we follow, right? Just one type of customer in one type of market, and we hit 1 million, 3 million. We kind of grew from there, right? So that was the first big learning. And then one big mistake we made was, after we hit $1 million in revenue, we said, oh, same product, Shopify, let's launch on WooCommerce. So because Shopify has 5 million customers, if we launch on WooCommerce, who has, I don't know, another 5 million customers, we can double in size. So when we launched there is when we realized the Shopify APIs, ecosystem, type of customers are completely different from WooCommerce people. They, on theory, it might sound like it's all e-commerce and all that stuff. The behavior was actually completely different, that we actually dropped WooCommerce completely, right? And the other big lesson we learned was double down on what works early stage, then kind of go and try to solve a completely new problem, right? And funny thing is, when we talked about this to people who are building in WooCommerce and people in Shopify, they knew this stuff with other apps they have built. They were like, oh yeah, WooCommerce is completely different than Shopify. I don't think you can do the same thing. We should have talked to other people before we started building, and just we kind of quickly went through that. Nobody challenged that assumption in the team, right? Yeah, if it's working on Shopify, you hit 1 million, it's e-commerce. Launch on WooCommerce, you can double in size. So that was the second big lesson. Then the third one was, even though I said initially that, oh, a dependency on platform is not worrying me and all that stuff, it actually screwed us over big time. Because when we hit $1 million, like even today, $3 million in revenue, about half of that comes from, I'll show you our pricing. Yeah. So we charge a subscription fee for use of the product, and then we charge per chat. We'll charge a fee, and then WhatsApp also charges, right? So for all the plans, we had a premium on conversation, and half of our revenue was coming from this conversation usage charges, and half of our revenue is coming from subscription. So then what happens is WhatsApp changed their pricing about 4 times in the last 3 years. So then what happened was, we are kind of going fast, we're signing up customers, and we have to change our pricing also, right? So customers kind of felt cheated or irritated that they don't care that WhatsApp changed their pricing, right? We changed the pricing. So then we learned a lesson. If you're building on platforms, try not to bake in their pricing in your platform. Try to keep it separate and try to keep it at one arm distance. You have a platform, and if you connect WhatsApp, you have to pay WhatsApp charges. So that pricing strategy was so important slowed us down every time. Like if you're a small team, speed is your biggest weapon. But every time WhatsApp makes a change, we have to kind of go back to the drawing board and redo things, right? That kind of messed up things. So these were the big lessons that I didn't anticipate. Like overall, roughly the structure of the product was pretty much the same where we ended up. But that focus is very important. E-commerce is not the same as Shopify. Shopify is not the same as WooCommerce. And building on top of the platform, don't integrate your pricing too much into that platform. These are very specific lessons that we learned in the last 2 years.
Thank you. I loved particularly about faking the prototype to look like a product. We all do the same. I guess I also do. I also do Figma prototypes to test the market and understand what's happening. I have a follow-up question on that. So you did that for the first time to introduce the concept of the product. What happens now when you have a live product and you have some feature ideas which are not yet tested? How do you test them? Do you also make some prototypes and show to your current customers, or you use some other approaches?
Yeah. So now what happens is I don't have my own ideas, right? So right, what we do is after 100 customers, see, when you don't have enough of data, when you're early stage, what happens is you don't have enough data to act, right? So what you do is you take some action, you generate some data, and based on the data, you take a decision, right? So it's action, some data, and you have to kind of dust everything up and to generate some data. So in order to do that, you have to take a crack at it, right? This is going to happen. Like I said, WhatsApp is going to work like this. You can take orders, and then you go and talk to a customer, and based on the customer feedback, you do something. So then let's say you convert 10 customers. Then what you have to do is between that 0 to 100 customers, you have to talk to them enough and kind of get a sense of the product. Then after that, it is only from talking to customers or observing their behavior, you have to build the next thing, right? Try to keep your own brain out of it, because your own brain is good, but it should be just used to choreograph all the input that is coming from the customers. Try not to kind of put your personality in too much after a certain point, right? That's what I feel. So then you won't be so right now, if we build a feature, how it's never surprising. It is because so many customers have asked for it, one, and we don't even still build it. Enough customers have left us because that product is not there, that feature is not there. Like I'll give you an example, analytics or phone app. From day one itself, customers have said, we want analytics. How will we know whether we are doing good? How will we know whether agents are working well? All that. Phone app, not this product is for multiple people to talk on one WhatsApp number, but not everybody in my team has a computer, so we need a phone app, otherwise I'm going to leave you, right? So what happens is, especially early stage when it's not a super competitive space, they don't have options, right? And they won't immediately go. But at some point, what will happen is that need becomes so large that the benefit that you gave exceeds the irritation that they feel from not having that feature, they'll start to leave. So then you know it's a real need. Till then, it's somebody else just asking, why didn't they leave for 6 months, right? So when they actually leave us, then, okay, then the pendulum has shifted, right? Then we build it. So, and also, we are only 6 engineers, so we really cannot build everything. Like after we fix all the bugs, we literally don't have time to build anything new. So you have to kind of force yourself into that kind of a restrictive atmosphere that once you build, you know there is 90% chance nobody is going to be surprised. It's because people have asked for it 100 times and people have actually left it because that feature is not there, right? So that's the stage that we are in now. Early on is when you have to kind of throw darts at the wall and see what.
Thank you.
Great. So I have one question. Another, you mentioned that your concept has not changed since you visualized it 8 years ago. This is really unique, like really unique.
That is just luck.
Cool. Yeah. And my question is, how did the participation in YC changed, or or hasn't changed this concept. So what was the process of YC giving you feedback, and what areas of improvement they highlighted?
Yeah, definitely. So how YC has helped us in terms of product, nothing changes. It's the founders and your customers. Like YC really, even if they told you to do something, you shouldn't do anything because it's your customers and you building it, right? But they can kind of give you strategic inputs like focus on a certain kind of customers and all this stuff. Things will be better. From a product point of view, YC won't influence it that much. They can give you strategic thing. But the first thing that YC does is the easiest time you can raise money is on YC demo day. There's never going to be a time in your life where people will throw money at you in 48 hours. Whatever money you ask at whatever valuation, people will just give it to you in that 24 hours, 48 hours, right? We raised $100,000 in India before YC. It took us 6 months, and we had to raise from, I don't know, 20 different people or something. We ran out of cash, and the last month the founders couldn't take salaries. That's when we got into YC. Right? That's the typical. This is how fundraising is outside YC. Then we got into YC, and we raised 1.6 million in 24 hours. Right? So, and I was trying 1.4 million, and I was trying
Why
to
so long?
I was trying to raise $1 million, and I accidentally raised 1.4 after all the calls were done, right? So that is how easy it is to raise in YC. So number one thing YC does is it removes your excuse of not having money. Then you realize on day 2 that I have $1.4 million in the bank, but I have all the problems that I had day before yesterday, right? None of my customers are going to buy from me, or I'm not going to get any new customers. My product is not going to get better. I still have to solve all that stuff. Only difference is I had an excuse in my mind that I don't have money. All that is solved. That is number one. Then number 2 is for a certain kind of startup, YC is actually great for finding customers, right? You can actually become a unicorn just by selling to YC companies if you are building that kind of product. For example, Brex or Stripe, or what is that company we do our cap table on that. I think it's called Clerky or something. Right?
Carta.
What's that?
Is it Carta?
Yeah, it's something like Carta, but it's a YC company. It's exactly like Carta, but it's a YC company, right? Pulley. So Pulley has all like or Superbase. 50% of YC companies use them, right? So if you are building that kind of a product and you get into YC, your customers are in the same room as you. You don't have to go and figure out any GTM. You just go talk to them, right? And you can sell to them. So that's one advantage of second thing that YC. Then third is if you have access to pretty much everybody in the world, right? And if you like money was your excuse, if your excuse was, oh, if I had access to that company, or I could talk to the CEO and I would get access, or something would happen to me, then they would solve that, right? For example, we wanted to talk to Shopify. We got introduced to Shopify's board member who invested in their Series A, who called the founder, and the third in command or fourth in command of Shopify talked to us, like, well, what do you guys need, right? And all we needed was like one thing he didn't even know. So he said, I don't know what that is, but I'll talk to somebody and they'll contact you and figure it out. Like, that's it. And then we wanted WhatsApp access, and then we got introduced to the CEO of WhatsApp, like not Zuckerberg, but that WhatsApp division had a CEO. So we got introduced to him. Like, again, he asked, like, what do you guys want? Why do you have to call me? I'll connect you to somebody who can get it done. Like, that's it. So access becomes super easy. Then there are startups that have used it. For example, there's a recent company that exited for like $400 million, which was a legal tech company that used LLM. They had early access to OpenAI before OpenAI was publicly released, and they kind of build a great product for lawyers, and like some big company bought them for $400 million, right? So you have access to certain unfair advantages like that access and all that. So if you know how to use it, good thing, right? And then fourth thing is you have access to great advice. You can set up calls with these partners, not just during the YC batch, but 2 years later, 3 years later, 4 years later, whatever you want. You can always get time on the calendar and talk to them and get great advice there. So this is pretty much like that, what do you call, advantage of IC that I see.
To follow up on that, besides going to Y Combinator, how does staying in San Francisco or the Silicon Valley helps you besides Y Combinator?
Yep. So this is just second-hand advice. I have this second-hand information that I've heard. We are not based in SFO. We were in India, and I'm in the UK now. But what I've heard is, if you want to become a movie star, you go to Hollywood. If you want to excel in country music, you go to Nashville, right? If you want to work in finance, you go to Wall Street. So, if you want to work in tech, go to San Francisco, right? And if you look at the number of unicorns or great companies built, there is San Francisco, it's like Messi, and then there is, I don't know, Thierry Henry, right? Both are great players, but Messi is like so far ahead in terms of stats and performance and all that stuff. So even though there are world-class players, it's like such a huge difference in what they've achieved. It's the same thing with these ecosystems. That's just how ecosystems work, right? Everybody has tried to recreate Silicon Valley in a lot of places. You don't even need to go outside the US. When you just come to New York or LA or any of these systems, like the gap is so huge, right? So that's one reason where they say just go be in the middle of it, because everybody and their mother who's in this ecosystem works there. And what I've heard is everybody is helpful. They'll make all these connections. There's the Silicon Valley culture of what do you call? You get these super networks that you can get introduced to a lot of people. Fundraising becomes easy, all that, right? So I've observed it. I mean, the very fact that like when you're racing during YC, when you're racing, they just get on a call like this to you, ask you about your product, and then what are you raising? Oh, I'm raising $1 million at a 15 million cap. Yeah, I'll put in 100K. That's it, done. So you better know who you just talk to, and you get their emails and the address, right? All you have to do is just after the call, send an email. The deal is done. There is no signing. There is no due diligence. There is no extensive paperwork, nothing, right? So that happens only in the valley. Outside the valley, the kind of all that's extra stuff happens, right? So this is one of the things that why people have experienced it, say, if you can, just try to pack your bags and go to the valley, right? It's like trying to become a Hollywood star.
Yes, thank you. My apologies. I was under impression that you were in the valley. So I have a follow-up question. If you know all this information about the benefits being in the Silicon Valley, how is your experience in the UK? How do you operate from there? And why do you decide to not go to Silicon Valley?
Yeah. So one is we wanted to be closer to the customers, right? Our customers initially were in India on WhatsApp, selling in India. So close to the customers, a great excuse not to be in the valley, right? We got the $1 million and the next thing what we have to do the next day was to build, right? So build, be closer to your customers, talk to your customers. So we chose to be in India at that time, right? So then when we grew to some point, remember I said, I didn't have to change anything. I just had to speak Spanish or Portuguese to expand in South America. And India, we cannot find people who can speak Spanish, Portuguese like we can in Europe, right? So our big plan on paper was for me to move to UK, set up an office here, set up a Portuguese and Spanish speaking team, and we'll sell to South America because it's a closer time zone, right? And I didn't want to be in the US; it's like too far. Right? So we chose this plan, all theory and paper, and we would raise a Series A and go it, right? But then what happened is, due to the WhatsApp pricing change, or or growth stalled at when we were in the middle of the fundraise, right? So then my Series A didn't happen and I was stuck in the UK. So that's what happened.
That's very cool and inspiring. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
I haven't known too that you are not in SF, so my question will be the last question from me, next one from the audience. So what are the best strategies to sell to B2B when you're not in the same country? Maybe you have some hacks or some ad campaign that worked very well.
Yeah. So for what worked for us is, see, one thing is you don't have to be in the same country to sell to B2B, B2B. If you are enterprise, maybe, right? But if you're not enterprise, I'm not sure if you know this chart. 1 second. It's actually a good thing for everybody to know also. 1 second. I'll just share it here in chat so that Daniel, if you can share this with the team. So if you know this chart, this is a good article to read also, 5 ways to build a $100 million business, right? So there are a $1 billion company is a company that makes $100 million in annual ARR, right? So if you're making $100 million in ARR, if anybody were to buy you, they have to pay you at least $1 billion, right? 10x your revenue to buy you. So then that's how when YC says we are interested in $1 billion companies, what they're really saying is we need you to have the potential to make at least $100 million in annual revenue, right? And there are several ways you can build it. So either, let's say, if you are going after a mouse, then in order to if you are charging them $100 a month, $100 a year, then you need 1 million such customers to become a $100 million company. But if you're charging them 1,000, you need 100,000 of them to become a $1 billion company, right? And it is when you get into the deer and elephant, it is bigger. So if you're going after mouse, your strategy, your go-to-market, your sales strategies are all different, right? For example, we would be classified as, let's say, rabbit, right? We charge $100 a month, $1,000 a year. We need 100,000 customers at this stage to become a $100 million company. And what would we do? We would piggyback on the Shopify app ecosystem, list our app there so we can go after Shopify merchants. We might use email marketing. I might go crazy on LinkedIn to attract customers to us, target Shopify merchants, all that stuff. So you have a set of tools to catch rabbits, right? So if you are building that DNA and skills to catch rabbits, it's very difficult to kind of change animals all of a sudden. You can't on Thursday decide to become an elephant hunter, right? Because you don't have the tools and all that stuff. But if you're hunting elephants, is enterprise state, you just need, you're charging $100,000 a year and you just need 1,000 customers to become a $100 million company, right? So then what happens is proximity might be important, right? You might, for example, if you're selling to banks or something, they may ask you for a few meetings to come and see who this is, where you're operating from. Is my data going to go out of the US or UK? So then it's a different sales motion, right? So if you talk to enterprise sales guys, essentially you just pick companies that charge $100,000 a year or 1,000 and ask them, how many meetings have you had with your customers? Like face-to-face meetings have you had with your customers in the last 1 month? And you would typically see that bees, mice, rabbits, and even deer may say, no, we never meet directly with customers. It's all online, right? So proximity, I think, only matters to enterprise sales. Other than that, you can pretty much sell anywhere and you can be based out of anywhere. Right? unless you are in like a sanctioned country or something. Really doesn't matter.
Thank you, thank you. And the last question from us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a question. Have you ever had a hard times when you saw that everything went wrong? And maybe what helped you to just continue?
Yep. Yeah, a couple of things. Like, for example, when we hit $1 million, we were talking to Shopify and they were interested in acquiring us, right? So we had these conversations. We had, I don't know, 14, 15 meetings, exchanging a lot of information and all that stuff. So usually if it is not serious, it doesn't get that far, but it was like got so far. And then one fine morning, the conversation stopped, everything stopped. Why? Because the Shopify share price was going down and they laid off the team, right? So imagine our high of hitting 1 million, Shopify approaching us, we're going to be acquired, and then zero. And then 2 weeks later, WhatsApp doubled their prices, and we lost like top 20 customers, 50% of our revenue, and it went to shit, right? So then what do we do? Is that, yeah, you can cry for one day, but then you have to get back up into the horse and get back to work. The biggest thing is not me or my co-founder, it is the team. Like the co-founders, the founders usually sign up for this. They know this shit. Like things are going to go high, low every time. They're kind of used to it. But the biggest lesson for me was the team is not used to this shit, right? So this is why, like, usually I'm super open about sharing information and all that stuff. One lesson I learned is maybe don't share all the news until the stuff is in the bag, right? The founders are fine, but the regular employees may not be able to kind of recover from that. You shouldn't put them through that, right? So that was one big lesson I learned doing that. But as far as things going to shit, it's always that's just a typical Thursday for you when you're when you are building a startup, right? You can't. But the founders always have to be stupidly optimistic and give that energy to the team, so that that's the energy that they rely on, right? The confidence that they rely on. And all your disappointment should be in private, maybe between the founders, but you should always show a face of optimism and positive news to your team, so that it's because always failures. They need that energy to kind of work on it, and they may read news in TechCrunch about competitors being acquired or their friends having great companies. So none of this is actually connected, right? Because some company did something is nothing to do with you, competition nothing to really do with you. So your energy and motivation is to come from within, and as founders, it's your job to kind of give that bit optimism to your team.
Okay, Arjun, we are running out of time. Do you have a hard stop or do you have a few more minutes?
Yeah, I'm open. It's okay.
Okay, we usually prioritize the ones in the room. Do we have any online questions from people who joined us virtually? Seems like we are all set. I didn't see any questions on YouTube and nothing in this call. Okay, do we have any other question in the room?
No. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So Arjun, thank you very much. This was super insightful, and this round of applause is for you. Thank you, thank you. We have a second tradition, a group photo. Yeah, we will take place here, and we'll take a photo with you on the back. Okay? Sounds good.
Awesome.
Zoko on 3. 1, 2, 3. Zoko! Сфоткала? Ну, ще раз. Yeah. Thank you, Arjun. Thank you, Arjun.
Great.
Was a great time with you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Always happy to help.
Thank
And
you.
good luck to everyone with everything they are building.
Thank you.
Bye.
Have a great day.